What was the worker going to do? The factory was shut. He was supposed to start his shift at 8 o'clock, but the gates were shut and locked. Nobody could be seen, apart from a little boy with ginger hair. "Hello, I'm Ron Weasley," said the boy, "and I've arrived on a spaceship with all my friends to take over this factory." "Well, take me to your leader," said the factory worker. "Okay," replied Ron, "but first you'll need to put a gas mask on." Ron gave him the gas mask and led the worker to meet his leader, known as the Butcher. The Butcher was a ferocious leader. If people didn't make them laugh, he'd cut at their fingers. "Tell me a joke," said the Butcher. "Do you know the joke about the fireman, the worker, and the miner who went to sail the ocean in a very small boat? They were doing quite well whilst they were afloat. But then they struck coal, which made a big hole, and they all got drowned up to their throats." The Butcher glared, reached for an axe, and cut at their fingers. "Next," cried the Butcher, and in walked 5 people. They were a fireman, a tall worker, Harry Potter, another fireman, and a safari guy. "What are you called?" said the Butcher, "and what are you going to perform for me this evening?" "We are Take That, and tonight we are going to sing our new single called We Are Going to Take Over Your Spacecraft." They began to sing, and it was pure magic. In fact, it was so magical that the words of their song came true. A normal lady took over from the Butcher. A diver took over as the chef. A harmless gas-masked person was in charge of navigation, and a worker with a red hat and orange trousers was put in charge of uniforms. The chief fireman, Sam, began to draw up some new fire procedures, and a robber looked into the safe where he found a pirate. Fireman Sam's nephew Stan was also part of the new crew, and he asked the new lady captain what the spacecraft was doing at the factory gates. "We have come to this factory because it has some magic water inside. Magical properties that turn people into giant furry animals. We were sending our trained diver Clive to explore in the water." And so Clive dived. He dived deep underwater. He opened his eye and he couldn't believe what he saw. He came face to face with Santa Claus. But Santa Claus was changing into a pirate. And the pirate changed into a Caped Crusader, who changed into a cool dude, who changed into a station master, who turned into an enormous furry cat. "Oh no," wailed the lady. "It's all true. The waters do turn people into giant furry animals." Fortunately, there was an airport runway controller who held up his white lollipops and told the giant furry cat to stop. The giant furry cat brushed him aside with her paw and prepared to eat him. But her attention was caught by blue flashing lights and the arrival of the police. And the police were not alone. They had brought some backup, including a train driver, a worker, another train driver, and a ghost. The cat looked at them and then simply sat down on them. There was a doctor in the crowd that had gathered to watch. The doctor ran forward and begged the cat to stand up and let the people go. Amazingly, the cat stood up, and the doctor saw that the people had magically changed into a pirate, a tall worker, a business manager, and Professor Lupin. Quickly, the doctor returned to the TARDIS and reached inside for a giant liquidizer. He raced up to the giant furry cat and fired the liquidizer between her eyes. The cat turned into a white liquid. It was milk. A man in an orange fluorescent jacket dived into the milk and gave everybody the all clear. "The milk is safe, it's semi-skimmed." And so all the magical waters in the factory turned to milk. The spacecraft disappeared from whence it came, and the factory gates swung open. The worker walked in to begin his shift. And just behind him were his mates, George, who used to be a train driver, Fred with 2 heads, and Mr. Mustache. "You'll never guess what happened to me on the way to work this morning," he said to them.